Okay. I usually don't use my face cam much, but I will be using it today because I have something to talk about. Anytime I have something to talk about that's positive, I'll be using my face cam. So I don't know if this angle is amazing or not. I've put most of the videos where I had something negative to say about other games behind my membership program on YouTube. And yeah, I'm keeping the shorts resolution because whatever. This is unscripted, so and I've done plenty of videos. I've been on YouTube since 2015. I've been growing my channel forever, so I don't want to hear any criticism about me going like It's like I'm expressing my thoughts. But I was adjusting my logo I drew, right? And I was thinking to myself, because I was looking into Choo Choo Charles. So if you haven't heard of Choo Choo Charles, the guy that did, or his game, Choo Choo Charles, his company is 2-Star Games. I've talked about him before in past devlogs. I'm going to start doing more devlogs again, but essentially, and this will be uploaded just to the Dan's Tip channel because, you know, it's that channel is my Dan's Tip channel is where I do gaming content of other people's games, as well as like just talk freely like how I am now. I haven't done one of these in a bit, so bear with me. I'm quite busy. I'm working more than ever now. I just paid off over almost $2,000, I think $6,000 worth of trademarks in the total fee that is over time for our company, Gabby Games. Our trademarks finally went through, so that's amazing. And we paid the final bill recently. But publishing and self-publishing. I self-published 2 games so far, Snatched and Pillars of Fog. They were not too good. I don't think it was because they were bad. Like, I know I was listening to Choo Choo Charles, and he said a lot of time if the marketing is a failure or the game is a failure, it's because it's a bad game. I don't necessarily think they were bad games, because I've had people look over them, and then people have seen them, and they're like, whoa, I wonder why this didn't sell more. I don't have a direct answer because we've had several millions of views on X, and that's what I'm going to kind of go over while I'm talking to you guys. So I just updated our logo. I did some more. I pretty much upgraded the logo, and I always wanted it to be gar in a skull's mouth, so I pretty much updated the drawing for that, and it went from this is me concepting, and I was like, you know, and this is the final logo that we got. Another logo. That's not our main logo, obviously. The main logo is the little hand. The hand we got here. This is actually our trademark logo. Anyways, point is we advertised a ton on X for self-publishing Pillars of Fog, and I was like 5.8 million views. And I checked the analytics, like we spent money advertising. We had 6 million impressions. We had quite a bit of a click-through rate. We had tons of profile visits. We had a lot of engagements. I don't really understand. I don't know. Maybe it was boring to some people. We even had women watch, dude. But if I go to highlights, can I not see my own highlights? Are you serious? Oh my god, subscribe to premium. Okay, sure. I can't even see my own highlights. I like how it gets rid of your highlights. You know, I was looking at Cuff Bust, and I'm just like, I wouldn't say it's like an amazing looking game. Like, even Choo Choo Charles was not that fun of a game. I'm going to be completely honest with 2-Star, the owner of the company. I forget his name. I find him a very interesting developer. I'm going to listen to his second channel, which is like this channel where he just talks about stuff. But I found it very... I don't know. I never found his advice so far very helpful. The one thing I did find helpful is how you can do like a lot of the stuff you could do, like language translations, all of that stuff. That's what publishers essentially do. They just outsource it. So you don't need a publisher, and they take 40% of your revenue. It's not even guaranteed. So I don't know. The whole point of this video is I think I'm gonna start publicly showing my development more. If people have ideas to give me, if people have certain and I'm not gonna give a name. I have a name for this game, but I'm not going to tell people what it is, obviously, because I can't just... That's the thing. I'm not announcing the game yet. I'm just developing it. For an indie dev, I wouldn't say I'm early in development. I've been working on this for a while, concepting and then going into the engine and whatnot. Been going through several different projects, but this time I am looking at multiplayer instead of single player. But yeah, we hit, you know, 925k on a post, but we didn't get a lot of, I guess we didn't get a lot of attention overall. Like, we got a lot of views coming through, but we didn't get a lot of likes. We didn't get a lot of reposts, I noticed. So X really didn't... I mean, okay, so here, this was 4.3 million. This was our announcement trailer for Pillars of Fog, and it's like a decent game. It was like, I guess you could say it was like a platformer. Yeah, I had to go for a sec. So point is, we self-published and we kind of used X as our publisher. We essentially gave X so much money to advertise us, and it didn't work for me. I'm also Canadian, by the way. That's another thing about a lot of indie devs is they live in the US. So I don't know. It's already been officialized that Google blocks out certain Canadian media to the US, and they push forwards US media. So, and Google's supposed to be not a neutral platform. It's supposed to be a tool. It's not supposed to be biased and block other countries from being able to advertise their products to wherever. So Google was blocking X for so long, and of course during this time frame we were advertising. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. There's no real definite answer. And then somehow, I still don't know. I'm gonna have to look more at the dude that made Choo Choo Charles the game. Because obviously Cuff Bus when it blew up because he was at the game, one of the Game Awards things from, was it last year or something? I don't know. He went to some sort of event. I forget which one it was. But pretty much you want to enter your game in those as a indie dev. And it can harm you from trying to get your product out there. There's a lot of things that will block your product. So I don't know if a publisher is the answer now that I'm more looked into it. Like, we hit 9.4 million views, 2,200k likes on just our photo of one of our, so this is one of the enemies in Pillars of Fog. We released with, since it was a small game, you know, it's only a $12 game. Canadian, that is. I think it's like $9 USD. So pretty cheap. Obviously not like Lethal Company level of development because it wasn't multiplayer. It was just another single player game where essentially if it made enough sales, I was going to release more levels for it, more content over time, and they would be like free updates. And maybe later, after so many free updates, we would have released like DLC maybe. But it didn't do too well sales wise, once again, just like Snatch. So now we pretty much pulled back and we just picked up our nonchalant jobs, our like physical labor jobs, blue collar, stuff like that. And now it's just, I'm thinking to myself, like, how am I going to market this game? How am I going to market my next game? So I guess the first thing is, yeah, I'm going to do a bit of a promotion. That it is my YouTube channel. I can promote whatever I want. I am promoting my work, my products. So instead, this time I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to try and do more of an in-depth devlog series. I am using Buy Me a Coffee, as I'm not using Patreon because people can screw you over on Patreon. And there's excessive fees on Patreon that I rather use something more like credit card friendly and support friendly. So I have two, it's either Buy Me a Coffee or the other method that people have supported me through before, and my content is actually on my YouTube channel. This one right here, you can actually buy yourself a membership or just simply tip me through YouTube. It's like a super reaction or whatever they're called on YouTube. You'll see it there. Anyways, if you want to get some exclusive behind the scenes posts, I've only posted once for the Death Rebirth, but this is outdated. So this was back in January of this year, so ages ago now. And now we're at the end of this year. So we released 2 games this year. I'll quickly go over the dates. So this was our more expensive game because we put a lot of work into the art of the cards, as well as I got an actual artist to do some art for the cards, as well as like some wall art, like actual like paintings in the game that we imported into the game. And I thought it was pretty good. And we released this on the 27th of May. And essentially it's like a horror card game. And you know, I thought we did pretty good. Dude, I'm looking at this, is very professional. I thought we did really good on the trailers. Like, some people's games just suck ass. Like, and I agree with the guy that made Choo Choo Charles. He said if your game usually doesn't sell, it's because it just sucks ass. But at the same time, the other factor is there's not a lot of game development companies in Canada, especially Alberta. There's only Dead by Daylight and Outlast, the Outlast series from Red Barrels, are the 2 biggest companies in Canada that have actually released successful games. But essentially, I'm trying to develop a game without having woke propaganda in it, optimizing the game properly so it's performance friendly on multiple platforms. And honestly, I think I did pretty good for Pillars of Fog and Snatch. Snatch could have been optimized a little better, but it's pretty good. And Pillars of Fog is definitely very optimized as long as you cap the FPS at 144. I never added DLSS or FSR in these 2 games because I just wanted to see how well I could optimize a game without using I forget what the name is, without using extra shit that makes your game look blurry. You know what I mean? I just wanted to go at native resolution. Obviously, we'll be using DLSS and FSR because it is more, a lot of people like using those certain settings. So in our next bigger game that we're taking time on and has gone through several concepting phases already, we're gonna have those settings, those extra settings. So that's why I haven't been uploading as much. I've been pretty busy with development. I'll upload more shorts where it's more me, and every time I have something positive to say and not so hypercritical like I did in past videos, because that's really not my objective. Obviously, I like talking about facts, and there's a lot of people that will say things that are totally wrong, and I can't just be like, oh yeah, that's true, just so I don't cause an argument. That's why I limit my conversation with a lot of people. I don't usually talk to people in-depthly about the truth behind companies or how a game is or the problems with certain games. Like, for example, I covered Outlast. I did over 100 different videos covering Outlast trials on this channel. Most of those now are under members only, so if you want to see those videos, you'll have to pay for a membership. Some of them without my face cam on are still public, but I moved and plus at the same time I had to move a lot of those over because I was covering leaks. And Red Barrels is copyright claiming people that talk about leaks now. So just in case, I was like, I made my ad revenue off of them. I moved them to members only. Plus, I wanted to push myself off the Outlast Trials algorithm because the game is dead. Like, it's pretty much how you know if a game's live or not. A lot of people like to, for some reason, say that doesn't determine popularity, but it does. Well, if we go to the Outlast Trials player counts, they just did a Christmas update that is still kind of running. And I will say this has been a pretty decent update. They did have nice cosmetics, but the entire issue with their game is it's a delivery simulator. So if you haven't heard of Death Stranding, essentially you're taking packages from one area and traveling by foot to the next. Outlast Trials is the exact same thing, but more horror themed, and there's more enemies, and instead of traversing a outdoor environment, you're in an indoor environment and you're moving packages from one area to the other. That's all it is. That's all it ever has been. And I thought, and I couldn't really, I was playing the game too much, so I couldn't I couldn't decipher what the issue was with the game and why it was so boring at some point, and it's because of that. That's why the player counts aren't at 100,000 people. That's why the peak was only at 36,000, which is good. If you go to, here's one thing. Guns sell in games. People like guns. And that's what I've realized, and I like guns too. And I was playing Ready or Not recently, and then, take Deep Rock, for example. They hit a peak of 53,000 at their all-time, and they still have more people playing than Trials. And this game has had barely any content. As you can see, the player counts are still going down because they haven't had any content for months, but people still come back more than they would for Outlast Trials. Like, when did they... I can't even see when they lost 11,000 people. Trials lost 11,000 people. Sometimes you wonder if they're even real. On PC, in like the first month of release, which is it's pretty bad, I'm gonna be honest. That just kind of goes to show that the game wasn't very attention attractive to most players. And this is when they were in early access, but still, it wasn't very... Pretty much, they just added a new enemy in recently, a new X-Mob, which is just like the standard enemies. It took them almost 3 years pretty much just to add in one new enemy. They've had several other enemies ready to release, but they never released them because they want to keep reskinning or redoing certain characters. So that's just like a perfect example of a game that has too many employees. It's over bloated, and they like to call themselves indie still, even though they're like over almost 100 people. I'm like a one-man team right here with some support, because since we've been after the release of these two games and I'm not selling too well, and since we had to pick up more work, I'm practically the only one that has a few days to do work. And that's why I haven't been work for my company, Gabagoo Games. I haven't been uploading too much because I'm too busy. Like, if I'm not working on Gabagoo Games, I'm working for another company as an employee, not a CEO. So you can kind of see the dilemma there on how I can make videos. But I'll make videos when I can. I think I'm gonna, tell me what you guys think of the shorts format I'm using right now for actual videos, because then I can clip certain parts of this format and upload them as shorts as well. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll get this up today probably, because I gotta work in the morning tomorrow, so I'll probably just get this up today. But anyways, support Gabagoo Games. The Death of Rebirth is on hold. If you wishlisted it, still wishlist it, because we will be releasing something for that for the future, but we got to change the premise and the idea. This next game coming out that has to be multiplayer, because multiplayer is fun. We're gonna stick to PvE multiplayer, so we're just gonna make the NPCs very nice and fluent. We do have an official name for it. I'm not going to say what it is. If you guys have a better title, once I start showing what I've been working on, you can let me know in the comments some suggestions. I know some YouTubers do that, but I need to start including more of my community on what I'm doing behind the scenes, and also just you know, what I'm working on. Because if I'm not uploading, people think, oh, he's doing nothing or something. No, I'm doing, there's quite a bit of work that comes with indie development, and there's a lot of like half-baked companies out there, or they do like these cheesy like 2D games. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around, like, I know that some people have lower end hardware, but I'm still trying to wrap my brain around how Terraria and certain other 2D side-scroller games are fun. The only game I actually found fun for a bit was Barrow Trauma, because it was horror, but even then, that game could be way better as a first or third person shooter instead of a 2D side scroller. And I think indie developers right away, instead of trying to learn in-depth systems that take time to learn, they're just right away like, okay, let's just do a 2D game and try and sell that. And that's what they all do. So that's why Gabagoo Games is solely a first person based company where we do first person games, true first person, that is, not just first person, but true first person. Look up that if you don't know what that means. And I don't want to cop out for complicated systems. That's where it's going to take time. So that essentially, if you want to support us early, it would be amazing if you could drop us and buy us a coffee on Buy Me a Coffee, because that helps the development of asset packs. Since we are indie developers, if you haven't seen Choo Choo Charles and his development, and he sold up to 5 million USD in gross revenue, and he's only ever uploaded 94 videos. So obviously I'm doing something wrong when it comes to making content. So this was, I guess, compared to some other like really like shorts active videos, I guess I could say this was more of a boring video, and I have to do some more in-depth edits for my YouTube channel, because obviously I tried to get around that and just do like talking and not have all the like super ADHD edits, and just, you know, to have it's like having a one-on-one conversation with my community instead of just hiding behind edits for a quality video. And I find that really, I don't know, disappointing when I see, like, he's a great, like, for example, like, this guy is a great developer, but he hides behind his edits. That's where I was trying to decipher myself, but he's very inspiring. Anyways, that's like my side criticism, but he's a cool guy. I think he's a cool guy. He has a lot of information. Obviously, he's very successful. His company is very successful for his first big game, Choo Choo Charles. Even though it is quite a simple concept with a train and weapons on a train instead of holding weapons. So it was unique and it sold. And I haven't beat Nightmare Mode yet. It's very hard. It's like the Dark Souls equivalent to a challenging game. So yeah. And he talked about how he put it on essentially consoles as well, and he said that was a pain in the ass. But anyways, the point of this video is yeah, you know what the point of this video is. Video here, I guess I'll have, once I have something more to show, I will do a more heavily edited video and upload shorts about it. And pretty much, if you want to follow some behind the scenes development, like screenshots of in-game things, buy a membership here or buy a membership on my YouTube. I'm gonna upload both the screenshots to Buy Me a Coffee and YouTube, so you have variation on what you want to choose to support. And yeah, that is about it. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.